If you've been struggling with your body image, you just don't feel great about yourself, and you've watched a bunch of body positivity, how to have a happy body image videos, episodes, podcasts, Instagram posts, and none of it is working for you, maybe this episode was made for you. I'm going to share with you very unconventional, uncommon ways that you can improve the way you feel about yourself. And you guys, this is episode number 1000 of The Chalene Show. Thanks for being here. I do not profess to be an expert at body positivity. In fact, half the time I feel like when I watch these videos or I hear what people say you're supposed to do for body positivity or self-acceptance, I'm like, I don't know if that even makes sense for me. I don't even know what to make sense of it. I feel like half the time I'm doing that wrong. But I do know this. I've never felt better about who I am, what I look like, my age, my appearance, my personality, any of those things than I do today. And part of that obviously has to do with age and wisdom, but a big part of it are some of the things that I just do. So while I'm not saying you need to do this, because the last thing I want to make you feel is like you're doing body positivity or body acceptance wrong, you're not. If what you're doing is working, keep doing it. This is simply what I'm doing, what I do, and it works. Number one, wear clothes, makeup, and hair that make you feel amazing. Like if your hair is driving you crazy, and it's what's plaguing your self-esteem right now, then go get a wig or get hair extensions or have it colored. Like if what you have going on isn't working for you, then there's no shame in changing it so that you feel better about it. And listen, this is what works for me. I know some people are like, well, you just have to accept it and don't try to change yourself for other people. I agree. Don't try to change yourself for other people. But if doing some type of and changing the way you wear your hair or the clothes you wear, how you do your makeup, if that makes you feel better, then freaking do it. Like do what makes you feel good. Even if the style of jeans that you're wearing right now, your daughter's like, Mom, no one wears skinny jeans anymore. If it makes you feel better, then freaking wear them. Like do what makes you feel amazing and don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Next, I avoid people and situations that do a number on my self-esteem. So for example, I'm not going to go to a nightclub where every woman is, under 25 years old and wearing a short skirt. And you know what I mean? Like, that's not my vibe. I don't want to feel like I'm somebody's grandma when Brett and I go out and have a nice night out. Like, I'm going to go to places where I feel amazing. I also don't hang out with people who constantly put themselves down. You know that girl that you went to high school with? Maybe she was in your friend circle who was always like, I'm fat. And you're like, you're 90 pounds. What are you talking about? And that type of negativity is contagious. It can unlock in your head an insecurity that you didn't have to begin with. In fact, you were born a very confident person. You were born loving and accepting who you are. It isn't until we have influences in our lives that we start to pick up on other people's insecurities, and it can unlock these insecurities. Like I have this friend who would always complain about her arms. And I never, ever even thought about my arms. And she's just like, oh God, I don't want to be like 40 and have like bigger arms. And I'm going to cover up my arms. And oh my God, my arms, like, and I noticed all of a sudden that I was looking at my arms. I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, don't hang out with people who are constantly putting themselves down or always finding new things to complain about. And they aren't happy with themselves, because that is freaking contagious. And you do not need to be infected by that. Don't go to places where you feel less about yourself. Like there's certain circles of friends, I find that this is also true, where it's like, I don't need to go to their party. I know who's going to be there, and it's just not my vibe. And I don't need to feel like I'm not enough, or I need to look better, look taller, thinner, anything related to my image or who I am, what I got going on. Like if I know it's not going to be good for me, then I don't go there. I don't hang out with those people. And the same is true sometimes of family members who they have nothing but negativity to say. And so if you know that to be true, give them some boundaries. Let them know in advance. Hey, Mom, I love you. When I come to visit this weekend, I just want to let you know in advance, I really do not want to hear one thing, even if it's positive, about my appearance, my weight, my makeup, my hair, my choices, or my family's. I love you. And if that's difficult for you, I understand. Just let me know in advance, because I really want to enjoy my visit with you. There's certain family members that they just have something negative to say. So you either learn to completely ignore it or you give them their boundaries in advance. So the next thing is, you have let's be honest, there's skinny mirrors and then there's fat mirrors. There's certain mirrors that you look in and you're like, who is that? Who is this old, short, disgusting woman? And then there's this other mirror you look in and you're like, oh, well, how has Ford Modeling Agency not found you? You have these drastically different mirrors sometimes. And why is it that we assume that one is the truth and one is a skinny mirror? Maybe the skinny mirror is actually reality. I choose, personally, to believe the skinny mirror. When I see a good image of myself, whether it's walking by a window or seeing myself in a mirror, I say to myself, this is accurate. This is the real me. So when you hear that little voice in your head that's like, oh, you don't really look like that, don't believe that voice. I actually want you to believe the reflection. Unless, of course, it's a reflection that you're like, do I look that bad today? No, don't believe that. Do not believe that one. The same way it's true that you shouldn't believe negative things that you say to yourself or someone else might say to you. So I want to share the story with you. When I wrote my first book, Push, the first thing I did when it came out on Amazon was went and read reviews. And of course, the first thing I did was sort it. Don't do this, okay? I sorted the reviews based on the worst reviews first. Why would I do that? That's just being a glutton for punishment. And as soon as I read those first couple of reviews, I thought to myself, the book's already out. I can't change this. I wanted to go to those people's homes and argue with them. I wanted to debate them. I wanted to berate them. I wanted to write them a response. And it ruined the first, couple of days of my book coming out. Even though I hit the New York Times bestseller list, I still felt bad about myself because of some nasty, uninformed person who probably never even read the book. In fact, the reviews that they'd written, I'm like, I bet there's no way that they finished the book. They just wrote these because they don't like me. And I let that taint my own opinion of myself in my book. From that point on, if somebody has something negative to say about me, I don't want to see it or read it. I delete it. And I think it's really important that we don't give power to negativity, because even just reading those things, they stayed in my brain and they took up space. And whenever we give those kinds of things attention, we give them energy, and energy grows. Energy begets energy, whether it's negative energy or positive energy. So don't read negative comments and don't read negative reviews. And that includes when people do compliment you, accept them. Accept the compliments. When people say, you look amazing, you look stunning, instead of dismissing them, instead of saying oh, this old thing, or oh, I feel horrible, or I don't know, I wasn't feeling that good today. Don't do that. Don't dismiss them. Accept them. Sit for a moment and go, oh, wow, thank you. And then confirm it. Say, I actually always feel really good when I'm wearing yellow. My husband, I never liked yellow or orange, bright jewel tones. But when I started wearing them, my husband would be like, oh, I love you in that color. And so now I believe him. And I've begun to believe it myself, that I look better in bright colors, and specifically yellow. This one is really unconventional. It's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I just do not understand these Instagram influencers and this trend where you're supposed to post or highlight something that's, really relatable. Oh, look at the cellulite on my thigh. Look at these rolls I have, or look at how ugly I look in this photo. Embrace it. Or look at these rolls that I have, and, look at my neck right now as I'm aging. I don't get that. I just don't get it. I think all that does is it gets other women to notice their own flaws. When it's someone who's you think is so beautiful and perfect, maybe it makes you feel okay, I'm normal. Okay, let the influencer do that. I don't think you should do it. I'm sorry. I know this is a trend, and I know it would probably get all these likes. I'm not going to do that, because I don't need to bring my own attention to something that in my mind might be a flaw. In fact, if you've listened to my podcast for years, you probably have rarely heard me say anything negative about my body. And there are parts of my body that I'm not crazy about, but I'm not going to talk about those things. I'm going to talk about the things that I love. I'm going to talk about how I love my strong legs. I love my strong shoulders. I love my green eyes. I love, I'm going to talk about the things that I love, that my hair is so thin I can spray it into submission. Like, I'm going to focus on the positives. I personally would never post one of those, like, what are they called? Like flaws or hashtag vulnerable posts where you're showing some flaw that you have. And the reason isn't because I want people to think I'm perfect. I do that for me. Like, if I'm giving that much energy to something I don't like, then now I'm constantly thinking that other people are looking at that. I'm drawing attention to something that I don't feel good about. Why would I do that? I'm going to draw attention to what I do like. I'm going to draw attention to what I do love. And I'm going to post flattering photos. I'm going to delete the ugly photos. I don't want ugly photos in my camera roll, even though no one else is going to see them. I want to focus on the positive. I want to focus on the things that I do like. It's my own perception. Create your own positive perception. That's what I'm saying. Now, I don't think you should use apps that like change your features or, change the way that you look. I'm not a fan of those, but I'm all for get better lighting, like lighten up the photo, know your angle so that you, like when you're looking at your own photos, you're like, okay, looking good. There's ways to do this. I posted this video on Instagram. In fact, I'll insert it here. It's a way to take a flattering photo. But first, it starts by knowing your lighting, placing the camera low, and then you just scrub through the video to see what angle you look best at. All right, here's a clip from that video. If you want to learn how to take photos of yourself where you look taller and thinner than you really are, I am your girl. Step one is you cannot allow your boyfriend or your husband to take the photo. You and I both know this is what you're going to get every time. You know how we used to hold the phone like way up here? We thought that was so flattering. It's great for your face, but not for the body outie. If you want to look tall, if you want a body outie, you drop that phone down real low. Look, she's 5'2" and 54. But she's looking tall because she knows her own angles. Open up your settings, click on camera. When you go to camera, make sure you have selected 4K and 60 frames per second. Then you film yourself in the front-facing camera so that you can actually see yourself and you can change and manipulate your angles or your poses or whatever. And then you just kind of scrub through the video. And because it's 4K, it's going to be decent quality. Who cares? It's just for the gram. And then when you find a shot you like, you just screenshot it. This is how you get all the thirst trap photos you could ever possibly need without an argument, and you'll look taller and thinner. You're welcome. Which leads me to the next thing that I do that I think really helps my self-esteem. Again, this just works for me. I ain't saying you have to do it, but I'm telling you, it works for me. I post a thirst trap. Post your own thirst trap. What's a thirst trap? Here's the Urban Dictionary definition of thirst trap. Just to kind of summarize it, a thirst trap is when you post a picture or a video where you're looking good and you're kind of fishing for compliments. Listen, it's not a bad thing to do on a day when you're like, I'm feeling cute, might delete this later. My friend Sean T does this all the time. God bless him. And I don't know anyone who's got more positivity about his body and who he is than Sean. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that and I'm doing that too. When I was in high school, I don't know if this is true for you, but when we were in high school in the 80s, the absolute worst thing that anyone could ever call you was conceited. You never, ever wanted anyone to think that you were, quote, full of yourself or conceited or, oh, she thinks she's hot. So it's like we've been conditioned for most of our lives to put ourselves down, to find fault with ourselves and to highlight it. Why? All that does is make you feel worse about yourself. And isn't it crazy that when you were young and thin and in high school and just absolutely perfect, that you started putting yourself down then? No wonder we have to work so hard as adults to feel better about ourselves. So I'm saying, I want you to be conceited. I want you to post a thirst trap. I want you to take the photo that you can find on your phone or take one now where I look so good and there's no other reason why I'm posting this other than I think I look cute. Just do that and take those compliments and screenshot them and save them. We've got to teach our kids to do this too. And yeah, I know there's a difference between being arrogant and conceited and just feeling good about yourself. So post a thirst trap. Here's a couple of mine. By the way, I'm recording this from our hotel room in the south of France. It's not a recording studio. We're just doing this on the go. So if you hear horns honking or sirens, we're in Nice and it's a busy city. The next tip I have for you is to literally create a folder. This is kind of goes hand in hand with my last one. Create a folder in your phone that is just favorites. And you can do this by hearting it, or you can actually name the folder like feeling cute and put photos in there where you know you were having a good day. You liked your outfit, you liked your pose, you liked the way you did your hair and makeup, whatever. You just were feeling good about yourself, so that you can scroll through those on days where you're not having such a cute day. And we all have those. Just as a reminder that you are adorable, you are beautiful, you are amazing, and you've got the photo to prove it. This tip is going to be a little controversial, and some of you are really going to come for me. And that's okay. As I said, it's my show. It's my opinion. It's my episode to say what I think works well for me. And I think it's important to do this because I've watched hundreds of body positivity, body image. I've watched TED Talks. I've watched so many YouTubes and Instagram posts from people who are body positivity experts. And the advice is often the same. It's like over and over and over. And I'm like, I don't know if any of that stuff helps anyone. I mean, maybe it does, but I know it didn't help me. So that's why I'm sharing what does help me, because there's got to be a certain segment of the population who's like, yeah, this is what I needed. So this is, again, like, people are going to come for me, but I'm going to say it anyways. Girl, if there is something that is driving you freaking crazy and you feel like you're doing body positivity wrong, or that you failed if you want to fix that thing, I'm here to tell you, screw them. Like, do what you want to do. If you've lost 100 pounds or 50 pounds and you've got loose skin and it's bothering you and you want to go have a tummy tuck, go get the freaking tummy tuck. If you're like, I feel young on the outside, but like my face is falling and I want to get a facelift, but I don't want anyone to think that like I'm fighting the aging. Girl, go get the freaking facelift. Get the Botox. Dye your hair if you want to. You don't have to do what anyone says you're supposed to do. There's no right or wrong way to age. There's no right or wrong way to do body positivity. Do what feels good for you. And I'm going to share my own personal experience with this. So after I had my first baby, which was Brock, I felt so self-conscious about my breasts. They were completely deflated. I had, I don't know, too much information, but I had much bigger, fuller breasts in high school before I got pregnant. And then after nursing, it was just like, whoop. Brett didn't care. He always is like, you can do whatever you want. You look beautiful to me. You don't have to change a thing. I want to change them for me. I didn't like the way clothes fit. I wanted to get implants. And so I did. And I'm here to tell you, you can judge and you can write all the comments about breast implant illness and stuff. All I know is I've never had any issues with them. And it made a huge difference in the way that I felt in my clothes. Like for me, I just felt more feminine. I suppose that's why a lot of women do it. I'm not saying you need to do it for anyone, but I'm just saying if there's anything, I don't care what it is. Maybe your earlobes are too long. Maybe you don't like the color of your eyes. And it doesn't mean that you hate yourself if you want to change something about yourself. And I'm not saying you should change everything about yourself. I'm just saying, if it's driving you crazy, like if you're thinking about it, you just can't get past it and you're obsessing about it and it like ruins your day and, you know, you hate the way you look in clothes because of fill in the blank, don't be afraid or don't feel like you can't do whatever the you want to do. It's your body. If you can afford to do it and you've done your research and you know who you're going to, I'm not even just talking about surgeries. I'm talking about like hair color. I'm talking about using a waist cincher. I'm talking about using self-tan or makeup, like whatever. I'm just saying, don't feel like you can't do something because people are going to judge you. Do whatever the you want to do. It's your body. And if you can afford to do it, friggin' do it. I've been getting Botox since the moment I could afford to do it, which was in my 30s. It's not about fighting aging. For me, it's about healthy aging. It's about just living life and feeling good about the way that I look. That's all. And so don't let people judge you or shame you. Don't read those comments. Don't buy into it. Don't worry about it. It's your life. It's up to you. And the last thing I want to tell you is you've got to change that tape that you're playing in your head. So if you say negative things to yourself, you've got to change that recording. And the way that you do that is by complimenting yourself. Start complimenting yourself out loud. I mean, I can't thank my mom enough for the way that she raised myself and my sister, because I don't have a lot of those body image I didn't until I was in consumer fitness videos. Like that did a real number, which is one of the reasons why I got out of that industry. That industry was not good for my own body image. Like I did not like the way that it made me feel. I didn't like the way that I felt like I always had to be something other than what I was. So getting out of it was one of the best things I could have done. And it improved I don't play that negative tape in my head anymore. I play a positive tape, right? And so if you're struggling with that, I want to recommend this episode. And I'm going to link to the episode number. If you're listening to this on any podcast app, you're going to see right at the top of our show notes, I'm going to put what I call a moving meditation. And basically what this is it's a recording that allows you to play this over and over and over until the voice and the message becomes your own. It's things that you need to be saying to yourself and about yourself. And if you don't have somebody speaking these things into your subconscious, let it be me. I have let go of negative talk. I love my body. I will not let my mind be a bully to my body. I want you to listen to this on loop. I want you to listen to this on the regular. The way I've created moving meditations are so that you can just let it play. You don't have to watch the video. You don't have to pay attention. I want you to move while you're listening to this. Go take a power walk. Do something that's physical where you can really let this messaging sink into your subconscious. Heck, you can even fall asleep to this soundtrack playing if you want. I want it to get into your subconscious because I want you to be playing a better recording, the recording that's going to make all the difference in how you feel about yourself. Like I said, I don't know if these suggestions work for everybody. So if you don't agree with them, keep that to yourself. Because if you don't agree with them and you want to come for me, I'm going to delete your message anyways. So why waste your time? Why? Because I like that positivity. It makes me feel good. It gives me energy. This is my life. This is my channel. This is my episode. This is my podcast. I'm just very grateful for those of you who have made it to this point. And if you have, I want you to drop below in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this episode, if you have a place where you can leave comments, I want you to drop #BelieveTheSkinnyMirror. Listen, as always, I want to say thank you for being here. I love you. I mean it. And I'll talk to you soon.